Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Hey everyone,
Hey everybody!
welcome to another episode of Hypecast.
Movie stuff.
Movie stuff. Yeah, I'm Tom Ryman.
I'm David Bell, and we have a special guest today.
It's me, Alex Schmidt.
Hey!
So
Hey,
excited to be
Alex.
here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Alex.
Of course.
Yeah. What are we hyped about? World Cup? The
World
weather?
Cup? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You just, right before we started recording, Alex showed me the Japan's World Cup mascot, which is this frog.
Wait,
It's
what?
great. There's this frog. Oh man, you got to just do a search
you
for
typing
it.
it
I
up?
forget his name,
Yeah.
but
His name is Ipe-kun. And
Oh, he's a frog.
it's a big frog, but also he's like pretty sad if you run what he's saying through Google Translate.
right.
It's like he's very confused and kind of can't handle what's going on.
Wait, this is his Twitter?
Yeah, like he has a Twitter, he runs around, and then like there's a picture of him just in front of a building in Russia, and then he's saying, tentatively sightseeing, heavy labor called. And then he's on like other transit, and he's just sitting on a bus, and it's sort of a weird picture of him. He looks
Yeah.
kind of paunchy.
This mascot merely, to me, I'm not imagining a frog. I'm just imagining the mascot being a sweaty man in a frog outfit being forced to walk around.
Because he's just sitting on the bus, and then the caption is, also moved, movement was too long and a headache started. Alive, I can return home.
Yeah, so the mascot is sweaty man in costume. Who's just like, I'm not having fun doing this.
Right. Well, I mean, in complete fairness, this is the mechanical, literal translation of what he's saying,
Yeah.
but it's still pretty great.
Because this site SB Nation is being very clear about, we just stuck it in Google Translate. We don't really know what he's saying,
Right.
but it's very funny. Like, it's him on a subway kind of thing in Russia, and then he says, I am worried and worried because I am anxious. And like, it's
so
supposed to
good.
be like a lighthearted, oh, look at the animal doing the...
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh, that's so good.
He's just a prisoner of his own existence. Oh man.
You want to start? You want to? Should we do trailers?
Yeah, we'll start with
We
trailers.
don't have much trailers.
Not too many trailers, which is fine.
We have 2 trailers. I went on the internet and I looked for trailers just now, and I
interweb.
can't find any trailers for this week. It's like a bad trailer.
A
week.
dead week for trailers.
Yeah, I
I
found
was
the
hoping you would just say there are no more trailers.
There are
They're
no
all
done
gone.
with trailers.
we finished the
They're all
trailers.
complete.
We're not doing them ever again.
Now, if you look for a trailer, it's just the original Die Hard's trailer, or
Yeah.
like first Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
or
All the classics.
There was an international trailer for the Meg,
Oh, dope! I'm so excited for that movie.
and the international trailer makes it look a lot more fun.
How could it not? It's Jason Statham.
I mean, it looks fun
Versus
but
Giant
like
Shark.
the international trailer has like funnier music, and it's just like, wee, like
I
like
feel
the
like- I feel
regular
like
trailer is a
international-
little bit more serious,
Right. I feel like international releases are more, for some reason, are more willing to be fun and silly with things.
Right. Well, because I think that's why people watch our movies, right? Like superhero
Right.
movies and stuff. They're like internationally, if you don't speak the language, if it's all subtitled, you're like, oh, look at those dumb, weird, fun foreign superhero films.
Yeah, like
that keep
spectacle
pouring out.
and effects and stuff
Yeah.
to sell more. So it's like, but yeah, there's a weird like seriousness to the American Meg trailer, which is funny to me. Why? Just
I don't know. I think
mean,
they know we're gonna see it no matter
maybe
what,
don't go
so.
full snakes on a plane, but go a little snakes on the
Yeah,
plane with
yeah,
this
yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
You know
giant
what
shark.
this is. Yeah.
Let's have fun.
It's Jason Statham saying, it's a megalodon.
I love that he's a shark expert.
Of course he is. He gained his expertise by eating several sharks.
Yeah.
He just beats sharks up. That's his expertise.
I want to find out that he's playing Richard Dreyfuss's character from Jaws. That's his take on that's what he thinks that guy would be like. It's just Jason Statham.
Man, that would be a great remake. Oh, I want to see a Jaws remake with Jason Statham as Richard Dreyfuss.
I'm playing a quiet nerd, but he's not any different,
Yeah,
it's great.
He says the same lines.
You ever see those when Jason Statham was a model? There's these music videos of him in chrome paint dancing in his underwear. It's wonderful.
It's very good.
It's these weird trippy music videos where if you don't know what you're going to expect, like a minute in, it suddenly cuts to this bad green screen of multiple Jason Stathams in underwear doing dancing. It's pre-fame.
Yeah,
they have no idea what they were sitting on.
It's it's 90s European dance music.
Yeah.
And he's just in the videos dancing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Dancing like Hadaway.
Oh God, everybody look that up.
It's pretty great.
First trailer, Welcome to Marwen, Robert Zemeckis' new film with Steve Carell. And what's her name? Leslie Mann?
Leslie Mann.
Janelle Monáe was in it, which is very exciting. And the girl from Baby Driver, not Lily James, but
right,
Asa Gonzalez, I think it is. I don't know how to pronounce the first name.
What do you guys think?
I was very confused by it, and so then I Googled, and it turns out there's a really great sounding documentary that it's based on. It's about a real guy and based on a real doc, which I'm not used to.
That's very weird. It feels like we could just watch the documentary.
It made me really want to see the documentary.
Yeah, I've never heard of a movie based off of another a documentary. That's strange.
I guess it's really good, according to reviews of it and stuff. But it was from 2010, something like that. And the regular movie looks fine, but a little strange.
Robert Zemeckis did the World Trade Center guy, the guy doing the tightrope walking.
Man on Wire.
Man on Wire. He did that as well, right?
Yeah, so they called it something else, didn't they?
Yeah. So Zemeckis is just watching documentaries and being like, yeah, I want to make that. That's what he's up to.
Right. Let's try to make an equally compelling fake version.
Yeah. This is a weird trailer.
It's very weird. I can respect what he's doing with the doll stuff because he's putting the actors' faces onto these dolls.
Yeah, right.
Which is interesting, and it's kind of
terrifying.
It's a little terrifying. It's a little uncanny valley, but it's a lot of what Zemeckis sort of became famous for was pushing this technology, even though it wasn't always him, right? But with Roger Rabbit, and then with the Beowulf stuff, the Polar Express stuff,
right? He is. You could argue that he pushes technology a little prematurely.
Yeah, he really loves. He's been tap dancing in the uncanny valley for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pioneer, man. He's just he's making a bunch of mistakes out there so the rest of us can enjoy cool stuff later.
It's us getting to see all the weird stuff about the pioneers. It doesn't make it into the history books. You don't see the first 15 things they tried that were stupid and didn't make any sense. Here's a rack for drying your beavers.
Right. We remember Sin City. We don't remember Sky Captain World of Tomorrow.
Right. I like rough draft pioneer technology is really funny to me. Poo hat, the hat you poo in. See, fixes it on the trail. But no, don't do that.
Oh, see, it's like you're walking along in the wilderness and you need to poo. Just take off your poo hat.
Yeah,
it rinses out in any stream or drinking source.
That could take off. Modern poo hat, you could have a zipper. You could have it sealed up.
A bunch of different pouches, and then you just drop it and specially branded poo hat receptacles. So this, I don't know. I feel I felt the same way when the Man on Wire movie came out.
What was the actual movie called?
Now I gotta look it up.
With Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah,
Man on Wire is the documentary.
Yeah. But it was
something like that.
It was something like that.
Well, because with that one too, I'd heard of the news story. So when I saw they were making a movie of it, I just kind of thought they were making a movie out of the news, and I didn't even totally know there was a documentary. This one, it seems like the true story.
The Walk.
The Walk, that's it, yeah. The true story with this Marwen thing is so strange that when it was just presented to me as a made-up narrative, I was like, this is an incredibly specific story to have just come up with.
That's
like, why are they doing that? Knowing it's a documentary, it sounds awesome.
Right.
Like, it sounds really good.
That's the thing, is the fact that it's based off a true story and documentary, like, but it has a magical fantasy land that this guy is doing. So is the documentary about a guy who like lost his mind?
The article I read, it's about this exact thing. Like, a guy was attacked outside a bar. The article wasn't clear whether they're neo-Nazis or not.
Okay.
But a guy was attacked outside a bar and he could no longer do the visual art he used to do. And so then he built a scale model of a Belgian town in World War II where the Allies fight Nazis in order to like process it. And then they try to, I guess in the documentary, put that in a gallery. And then if that becomes art, it would bring him out of his shell, and he's trying to figure out what to do with it.
Okay.
So then this movie, he like gets attacked by neo-Nazis and processes it by pretending to kill
Lots and lots
regular
of Nazis,
Nazis,
yeah.
Well,
in
Nazis-
his town, and also everybody's alive like Toy Story. It's
Right.
really, it seems really strange.
Right, but there's this weird wrinkle in there too, where it's like, so everybody, all the dolls are based on people you know. It's like, yeah, all the other dolls are women.
It's a little weird.
Like, he's just surrounding himself with attractive women that he tangentially knows in
and
real
beats
life.
up Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like he meets Leslie Mann and then makes a Leslie Mann doll.
Yep.
You're right. So he's
So,
gonna
like,
kill
all right.
him.
Yeah, it's a little
But I get it. Nazis are big. Nazis are real hot right now.
white hot.
Yeah. So make some Nazis. Add some. It sounds like they padded it with Nazis a little more than the. True
It sounds
story.
like it, yeah.
But so this is
I
entirely
don't know.
Zemeckis' idea to do the Toy Story stuff.
Well, yeah, it feels like, because
Okay.
from what I know about the story of actual Toy Story getting made by Pixar, they partly did that story because they thought they could make realistic looking toys with their animation.
Right.
So they were like, okay, we'll just directly do a living toy movie. Like, that's a pretty simple idea.
Yeah.
And I think Zemeckis has this tech, and they were like, okay, great. So like some kind of living toy thing. And he's like, picture this thing from a documentary that's incredibly specific. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, this
sure.
is very strange. Because I thought maybe in the documentary he says something about how, like, he played with the dolls or something to help him, but it sounds like that's the. Okay.
It seems like it's like comforting to like kind of do reenacting within it, but
Is
it
this guy
doesn't
still
seem like.
alive? Is he? Do you know?
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't read deeply enough.
Does it like take place in the 50s or 40s?
No,
like
I
we're
think
interviewing Alex about this
the
because
attack.
he's the only
let
one who
me-
read something.
No, I can just pull it up here. It looks like the attack was in 2000, and
Wow.
then
So he just zeroed in on Nazis.
and then the doc came out in 2010, and so it's like he just thought that piece of history would be fun to work
Right.
with.
I
Yeah.
just like the idea that this guy who got attacked, like they're coming to him like we're going to make a movie about it. But get this, the dolls come alive, and I'm just like, what? No, this was a very bad time in my life. I got beat up by Nazis. Like, no, it's gonna be fun. It's like a fantasy.
traumatic brain injury.
Yeah, it's a very. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing
When-
this. It's just a very.
And this right up in the documentary, it does say that he makes the dolls represent himself, his friends, and even his attackers. And he partly does it because he was unable to afford therapy.
Okay.
And the doc is called Marwen Call, and the name is a portmanteau of the names Mark, Wendy, and Colleen. Mark is the guy. It sounds like an actual Belgian place to me,
so
but
the Toy
yeah.
Story stuff is like oddly appropriate then for what
Yeah.
it sounds like. That's cool.
It's like it. I get it, and also I think I just want to see the documentary.
Yeah.
That's what I end up feeling.
Sounds
about
way
a lot of
better.
these movies like The Disaster Artist and
Yeah.
The Walk and stuff like that, where it's like based on the incredible true story. It's like, well, now like. I mean, there have been good documentaries for a long time, but like documentaries are pretty big right now, and we're getting a lot of really good ones. So it's like
Right.
I would rather watch the documentary. Like,
We're also getting
But,
that.
yeah.
The guy did Deepwater Horizon and Patriots Day. We're getting those now. These
it's Peter Berg, right?
Peter Berg, yeah, the nonfiction movies are like based off of a thing that happened a year ago.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Right.
give it some time to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they were shooting the Boston Marathon movie in the neighborhood that the shootout happened, and the neighborhood had to be like, "Hey, can you not do this? We're all still pretty upset about this, and you're firing fake guns in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Get out."
It's okay. We're gonna tell you a story.
And they did.
I imagined also that Mark Wahlberg was the face of the PR dealing with them, so I'm glad you could do that.
I mean,
it's very funny.
Yeah, he is from Boston. I see him shoving him out in the front there. Like, these are your people. You talk to them.
Right. We need a calming voice. Mark, you get out there.
Oh, man.
You set rooms at ease.
Oh, God.
What's the next trailer? Oh,
Creed 2. I haven't seen Creed 1 or most of the
pretty
Rocky
good.
films.
Rocky films are good, and then well, at least the first one's really, really good, and then the others are fine, and then Creed is pretty good.
I saw the first Rocky film. Yeah, I need to see Creed. It looks really good.
Yeah, super
Apparently
solid.
It's a really good one-er shot. Like, a whole fight is like one shot.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah, it's pretty
that
cool.
Sounded really good. Yeah, they had stuff where, like, when the camera would pan away from a character, a makeup artist would run up and, like, apply blood and stuff to the characters.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good movie. The sequel, it's not the same director.
No.
Okay.
But it's got what's his face? It's bringing back
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, look like the same cast,
Stallone.
at least.
It's got the
key people.
villain.
Drago.
Yeah.
I assume it's Drago's son or something.
Yeah, the trailer, because I was like, okay, so he's boxing and kind of dealing with his head fine, and then they revealed the back of the guy's, I don't know what those are called, like those giant robes that boxers wear for some reason
it's
on the
just
way to the
robes.
ring.
Boxing
Boxing robe.
Yeah, and it said Drago on it, and I was like, oh, here we go.
It's like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if we
You know who else is timely besides the Nazis? The Russians.
The Russians.
Yeah, let's get them.
Oh shit. Dolph Lundgren's in this.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
He's not fighting Dolph.
I assume
He's
not.
playing Rocky, right?
Yeah.
No, there's a Victor Drago, is I assume his son. Played by some guy I've never heard of.
Played by a man.
He's probably all muscle, whoever it is.
The brief glimpse you get of him in the trailer, he's pure muscle.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's got muscles in his neck.
Like, yeah, it's got Tessa Thompson in it.
Yeah, the key people from the first Creed are Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson and Stallone, and it looks like they're all back and getting a lot of time. They're all very good, even Stallone, especially in this.
Yeah.
he can do Rocky really well. Like, it doesn't matter if he can do anything else.
I'm super excited.
he can do Rocky.
He's really good at Rocky.
I'm
Yeah.
excited to see Dolph in this because Dolph doesn't really like act anymore, right? Like,
Except for the Expendables.
yeah, but that's sort of
Oh
acting.
yeah.
But like he does like silly stuff. He did Universal Soldier 3.
Yeah.
And he's in movies, but he's not in like
Good movies.
good movies. And this seems like it's going to be
Yeah.
like a good movie, and he's going to be in it.
Yeah, now I'm realizing it's kind of like the thing where for a while Bill Murray would only come out of the woodwork if Wes Anderson called.
Right.
Like, I think Dolph only shows up if Stallone calls.
Right? Yeah.
And good for him. Great move.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, just stick with your buddy and otherwise
Yeah.
be a chemical engineer or whatever
right,
the
yeah.
heck.
That's wild.
He has advanced degrees and stuff, if people don't know.
He does. It's fucking wild.
Like, graduate level. It's really cool.
Good for him.
Yeah, I think the story is he was discovered in an airport, like on his way to MIT or something. There's a
Dolph was?
yeah.
Is he like, it's like that thing
What
where...
the fuck?
But that's what Alex is. He has advanced degrees.
But
Yeah, he has some
he's
kind
seriously
of
discovered
master's or
on
doctorate.
his
in-
way
Yeah.
to MIT, like with a little briefcase,
Something like
just
that.
looking like a giant
I mean, he was
murder
also
maniac.
a kickboxer.
Okay, so he
Like-
did both.
Yeah.
All right, I was
Yeah.
imagining like this guy who's like super swole, and they're just like, "Have you ever thought about fighting people?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, I guess I could do that.
I guess
I've
I
just
am
been
really
getting
strong."
swole for no reason."
Because he's like one of those Scandinavian dudes who's just more advanced than the rest of us. Like, he speaks 7 languages and is a genius and is a top athlete or
Oh
something.
my god,
Yeah.
he's great in Universal Soldier 3. No one saw that movie but me.
Yeah,
a
yeah.
great film.
He was awarded a Fulbright scholarship to MIT,
Dolph.
and that's the same year he decided to start acting.
Oh, he's been doing a lot.
Yeah, he's in like Arrow and shit. Like, he's all over the place.
Yeah.
He's in another
Oh, wow.
Sharknado.
Okay, so he's busy then.
He's
Yeah.
in Aquaman. I forgot. He's going to be in Aquaman.
Oh, word.
Whoa.
Yeah, Dolph. This is that new. This is what DC
If
figured
ever
out.
there was a dude who looked like he should be an Aquaman, that's
Yeah.
Dolph.
No, there was
Yeah.
this. DC is figuring out the one thing Marvel's been doing that is catching on, which is just like get an 80s or 90s like celebrity in your movies. Like stick a Kurt Russell in there or
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum. Like, who else?
Yeah, actually, and Christopher Nolan did like kind of the less cool celebrity version of it. He'd pull like Tom Berenger and Matthew Modine and people for Dark Knight movies.
Right.
So it was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, so Aquaman's like, all right, fuck all you guys. We're getting Dolph.
Yeah, fucking Dolph. What can you say to that? Not a damn thing.
All right, should we move on to the news? We got those 2 trailers. Michael Bay
is rebooting Ninja Turtles.
I was hoping you would just keep sighing forever.
Just a heavy sigh.
It took a lot out of me.
I specifically put in this opinion piece from Hollywood Reporter because I hate this person's opinion.
Right.
But it's, Michael Bay is looking to do another reboot of the Turtles brand.
I'm going to...
And this person is arguing, well, here's the way you can make it good, is you make it like the old comics. No.
Well, okay.
Just no.
Well, here's the thing. Are we getting to the point now where there's enough Ninja Turtles adaptations where we can, just for the hell of it, make like a single movie like the old comics? Like, are we getting to that point?
What I wanted to say is the old comics aren't good.
No, they're not great.
Nobody likes them.
Yeah.
Like, so why do that? It's like, well, the answer here is to make the Ninja Turtles gritty. And then the person goes on to argue in this Hollywood Reporter piece that it's because Ninja Turtles is satire, you could use the Turtles in a sort of Deadpool type way. And Turtles was only satire in concept. Like,
right, like it was a straight up superhero thing.
Yeah,
otherwise,
it's the idea of Ninja Turtles and the idea that it's in black and white to sort of parallel what Frank Miller was doing in the 80s when everything was so dark and moody. And then, you know, the specifically his Daredevil stuff. That's why you have the Foot Clan in place of the Hand Ninjas, which are in Daredevil. But other than that, like, the comic is incredibly serious. Like, it takes itself very seriously.
I mean, the comic is the joke. Like, that's I'm sure we've talked about it before. The first Ninja Turtle was created like on a bar napkin by 2 guys who were high.
Yeah.
Because it's just a joke. Like the joke is.
it's a funny title, isn't it?
Yeah.
Never really think of it.
It's what you're saying. It's a dark. It's like an Andy Kaufman type joke.
It's a real meta joke.
Yeah, where it's like the comics themselves aren't funny. And they're just the joke, are the comics.
I can never tell if this was intentional or not, because the idea is, you know, admittedly a great idea. Obviously, it's become this world famous franchise. But like the comic itself, I will go on record as saying is very bad. And part of the reason it's very bad, and again, I don't know if this is part of their meta joke, is that the Turtles are completely indistinguishable from each other. It's in black and white.
Yeah.
So you can't
really?
tell. Yeah. Turtles comics
because I've never seen these comics.
Even so unless the turtle is clutching, and they don't have any personalities either. That was all added for the cartoon. Like there's no Donatello doesn't do machines or anything. Like they're not distinct in any way. They don't even speak like teenagers.
Right, like they thought of one joke and just figured there'd be 4 of them.
Right.
This is not like, okay.
So every time a turtle is speaking in frame, and unless he's clutching his weapon, you have no idea which turtle it is. And they take it to the point where even like the covers, which are in color, they're all wearing red masks. So even when it's in color, they're completely indistinguishable. I can't tell if that's a fucking meta joke troll or if they're just bad.
I think it was in between. I think it was who gives a shit, because I don't think the first comics, I think they made those comics thinking they were just trolling everybody. So they weren't like imagine drawing like a little like fart dinosaur on a piece of paper and they're like, we should make a comic out of it. Yeah. And then they just start selling, and it's like, all right, I guess let's make some more.
Let's make some more
fart. And then they're like, we want to make a whole empire out of your fart dinosaur. And it's like, okay.
Cool.
You're describing a thing we could do.
Yeah.
I would buy fart dinosaur. Let's do it. This all sounds very feasible.
Fartosaur?
Fart dinosaur is the next tier we add to Patreon.
Yeah. All right, let's make it happen.
But yeah, so I think the idea to like go back to the roots, quote unquote, is a huge mistake.
No, I think maybe go back to the cartoon that everybody knows and loves.
That's the only reason. The only reason anybody has fond memories of Ninja Turtles is because of that fucking cartoon.
I also think that there's a new cartoon that kids like.
Yeah.
And I liked
There's
that.
been several in the past.
Yeah,
10
I
years.
liked that movie, the CG movie, based off the more of that cartoon, and it took itself seriously. The 2009 one or something.
Yeah, that's also.
And so that's another direction to go with, is just legit make it for young, kids in like 10 or 12. Or
that
whatever.
movie is it's like a low key sequel to the original movies.
Yeah,
it's like a Superman Returns.
Yeah, so I think it's pick your audience. Are you going to make this movie for actual kids, or are you going to make it for adults who remember being kids? And then stick with that audience and go for it.
Right.
Like, and I say that to a lot of things Michael Bay does lately, and a lot of movies about like 80s nostalgia. Like,
yeah.
Just pick your fucking audience.
Right. Just be the thing or don't.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
there's no reason to do it otherwise.
Yeah.
I thought the last Turtles movie was pretty fun.
I think having
a lot like the cartoon.
Michael Bay still involved is, I don't know, man. Like, that doesn't seem like a good idea. But I think there's nothing wrong with just constantly rebooting it. It's like Spider-Man. Like, you'll get it right eventually. Like they did the Sam Raimi ones, which I like, but then they had some problems. And then they're like, all right, let's try it again. And it's like, all right, I guess this system is working.
They made him like Iron Man Jr. It's gone great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
On paper, it's really depressing rebooting a movie series
So many times.
4 or 5 times. Yeah. But
yeah, who cares?
yeah, well, Homecoming has proven that, like, okay, yeah,
Really
I
good.
guess, yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. That's my favorite version of Spider-Man is that one.
That said, I think we should have a limit or something. I've talked about the government getting involved on previous podcasts with like the Terminator franchises. I think we've had enough. I think they've proven that they can't make any more of those, and they're never going to be good.
I mean, the government should limit most speech at this point, right?
Yes.
Like, we should just
Really
shut it down.
Just come down hard
Yeah.
on really limiting what art people can make, what things they can say.
Yeah.
So that's that story. What's the next story on our list?
There was a lesbian scene cut from Jurassic World. It's one of those things where I heard the headlines like lesbian scene cut from Jurassic World, and I was like, huh.
It's weird.
They were really going. Oh, okay. So a scene with a lesbian,
It's not even a scene.
and
It's
then
two lines of dialogue.
Yeah, and then did you read like what the actual dialogue was?
I looked at that, and it's just kind of a gratuitous. Having a lady say it's like a much tamer version of Pussy Galore and Goldfinger, like to prove that the hero's super masculine, that he can win over a lesbian.
Basically,
Yeah, I would say
it's
there's
a real sweaty.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
I saw some outrage about this on Twitter, and I would suggest to people to read what the scene is before reacting to this, because at first it was like, oh, they took out like a gay character, like that's fucked up, like that sucks. And then you read what the scene was, and it's a lesbian going to Chris Pratt and being like, I like chicks, but if I didn't, I would fuck you. Like, it's basically that. And it's
like telling him he's perfect looking. And,
it's like a really bad scene.
Yeah. It's
a scene that is not written by a woman.
No.
So I will say good job, Jurassic World.
It was not a scene written by anyone in the LGBTQ community.
Yeah, so good job, Jurassic World. Way to identify a shitty scene.
Way to identify a line that should have been removed from the movie.
Right, the article headline should just be proper editing decisions occur on Jurassic World.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom falls victim to correct editing.
Like that, yeah.
That's what you just. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom makes very excellent decision.
Because, like, on some movies, correct editing is news. You know what I mean? Like, they don't all do it. Like, hey, good job.
For this kind of movie specifically. Oh, the editing is actually good.
Yeah, that's good.
The character doesn't pull an object from his coat that disappeared earlier, like in Suicide Squad.
I just imagine, those like spinning newspapers in a movie, and then the headline is like war. Like, I just imagine one that's like Apatow trims. Like, it's like that big of a story. It's like
newest Apatow movie clocks in at 88 minutes.
Like, it's enormous news. Like.
It like takes up 3/4 of the space above the fold. Apatow restrains ego. New film said to be, quote, a reasonable length. Script actually involved.
Oh man, I didn't need to dunk on him there. I like much of his stuff, but I don't know.
Apatow?
Yeah, but it would have been
But
fun.
it's true. He doesn't cut
It's not on you.
anything.
You set me up, and I just went for it.
It was great. It was great.
Apatow, we
real
know
high.
we know
Yeah.
you're listening.
Anyway, they should keep the lesbian dinosaurs in the film.
Yeah.
is
All
my
lesbian
feeling.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Jurassic World. It's got like a 55% on Rotten
Sure,
Tomatoes right now.
that makes
Critics are not.
Yeah. Is
I'm
it
sure
out
it'll
because
get-
it's out soon, right?
It'll be
Yeah.
out today when this podcast.
Ah.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. I'm sure audiences will fucking love it.
I don't know, man.
I
Once the glow of a new Jurassic Park may have diminished since Jurassic World.
hope
It
so.
doesn't get to really ride that same wave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or maybe it's better than Jurassic World. I don't know.
I'm trying
It's
to
got
remain
Goldblum.
very
It
pessimistic.
does have Goldblum, but apparently
Yeah,
only in that one scene
he's
you
very
see the
briefly in
trailer.
it.
Oh, like enough for a trailer? That's
Right.
a ripoff.
When Jurassic World,
I want my money back for this
Yeah.
future
I want
ticket.
my Goldblum dollars worth.
I don't know. We'll see. We will
I'm
literally.
I find
literally
myself
see.
sort of falling victim to the same fan culture that I often decry, where I'm like, well, maybe the sequel will be better. Why
Well,
would
that's-
you think that?
That was the thing is I saw the first Jurassic World, the trailers for the most of the lead up. I was like, this movie looks like it's going to be bad, and then like the day I was going to see it, I let myself hope, and I was punished for that hope. So I'm trying not to hope for this one, but I am feeling the same thing where I'm looking at the trailer, better director, and being like, oh, maybe this one will be good.
I don't think it'll be good, but it might not be.
It's probably like a solid 55. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's probably like fine.
I'm sure it'll get
it's
a bunch
fine.
of money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it probably will. I mean, if some other hero wants to step up to the plate and make dinosaur movies, I will watch those.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to only be Jurassic Park films.
Well,
fellas.
this movie, The Meg, let's get a giant shark movies going. Let's
Sure.
Yeah, that's kind of a dinosaur, right? Like it's a
Yeah,
very old
right.
shark.
Yeah.
You know?
This could be the new Jurassic Park.
What you mean
got
Jurassic Shark?
Jurassic Shark.
I'm
There you
sure
go.
that was part of the marketing for the original book.
Yeah.
That's
What if,
actually.
I'm pretty sure it is like a blurb on the cover. of
Oh,
the
yeah.
book.
It's Jaws and Jurassic Park.
Mhm.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Star Wars is the thing.
Yeah.
Moving on to
Spinning
Star Wars.
newspaper. Star Wars is a thing.
Star Wars continues to exist.
You guys hear about this?
You guys heard about this? Can you believe this? Heard about this?
Spinning Jay Leno.
Just Jay Leno's face. You guys heard about the Star Wars? Heard about this? Yeah, so the story is what they're supposedly there's a rumor from an unidentified source that they're putting their A Star Wars Story series of films on hold because Solo didn't do as well as they wanted it to do. And then Disney shot back with, no, that's not true. There's still several unannounced Star Wars films that are in development, which is not like refuting what the story says. So it's real
Right.
vague. A lot of vagueness
Yeah,
going around.
it's weird because it was like they were like they're not making spin-offs anymore, and Lucasfilm's like that's not true. We're making Star Wars films, and it's like, you didn't say spin-offs,
Sure.
but sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Apparently the Obi-Wan, and I don't know. I mean, I think they're.
I wasn't into Solo. Didn't
Yeah.
enjoy it.
It was. The
And
only...
I was surprised how much I didn't enjoy it. I thought it would be fine. I really didn't enjoy it.
Huh.
I felt nothing.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I didn't feel dislike either. I just watched it, and then I left, and it was like that was Solo, and I just kind of went on with my life.
Well, I've liked most of the other new ones. that one didn't work for me.
That's
yeah.
interesting.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
It's the only one of the new ones I've seen that I actually enjoyed.
Huh.
Oh.
Although I recognize the first half of the film is very bad, and there's a lot of problems with the film.
Yeah.
Mainly, it's supposed to be Solo, which is like the wry, wisecracking character in Star Wars, and it was originally a Lord and Miller endeavor. Not a single joke in that film lands.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Yeah.
Not a single joke.
Did you like that we finally got to learn how he got the name Solo?
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah, that's
God
pretty silly.
we figured that out. Yeah.
There was an audible groan in the theater I was in, and this was on opening day when I saw it.
That's the thing is like if you go and look at when it premiered, like at the Chinese theater, and there were people coming from the premiere, even the people who are coming from the most hypiest version of this
Right.
came out and they were like, The beginning's kind of messy, but yeah, I liked it. And it's like, that's a bad sign when the people who are like meeting the stars are like, yeah, it was all right, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, when you're in a situation where you can turn around and look at like Donald Glover. And be like, so when does your character show up?
Yeah.
Because man, I'm counting time right now. Yeah, I think it's amusing to me that there's so many post-mortems being written on Solo, which is a several $100 million film. It's not a bomb by any stretch of the imagination. It's also the 5th Star Wars prequel and the 10th Star Wars movie. So there's a lot like it.
Oh, like Rogue One and this and
Rogue One and the prequel trilogy. Yeah, they're all Star Wars
how about
prequels.
this?
Well, it's a problem because it is a bomb by the sense that it costs like $500 million to make and only made like $300 million. And that's more like a sign that movies are broken.
Yeah.
Like when
the fact that we're asking ourselves, like, man, could it have been the May release that people just weren't feeling the interest in the 10th Star Wars movie?
Like, no.
The 5th
May,
prequel?
like May is the problem?
Yeah. Is it May?
Like, remember when if a movie had 10 sequels, that was a bad franchise? Like, we would automatically associate that with being bad because having that many sequels
the only
is a
exception
bad
is
thing.
James Bond.
Right, yeah.
But James Bond's more of like an episodic serial.
Yeah. Yeah, the Star Wars, these are like, you have to... I was thinking about this with Marvel, too, and I know that I'm sure people... This isn't true, but like, if I were like 10 or whatever age and I was just starting to like notice Marvel existed or being able to see Marvel films, like you have to go back a decade to actually like...
There's a lot of
follow
movies
the
to
story.
Watch. Yeah,
it's not like James Bond where it's like, okay, any James Bond you watch, you're immediately
you know the basics.
It's great.
Like Marvel, and the same with Star Wars is it's like you have to sort of go back and like catch up, right?
It's not sustainable.
It's not. It's a bad. Again, there was a time when I was alive where if something had even 5 sequels, we'd be like, oh, that's bad. Like it's fundamentally a bad thing.
Right, because 3 of those would be direct to HBO sequels.
Exactly.
Right. And now we're like Fast and the Furious 7 is when it's truly aged.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like a wine. Like, that's it. Yeah.
But it's true.
Which is true. So there you go.
Fast and Furious got good at part 5.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Like,
Yeah, actually,
So
and
weird.
Mission Impossible movies, same thing kind of happened.
yeah, like second and
Like the
third
first
ones.
one's pretty good, and then like later on,
I
it's
really
better.
like
Yeah,
the
then-
first one because it's a fucking like Brian De Palma like almost noir film.
Yeah, no, I like.
And it's like,
Yeah.
how did this become the franchise it is today? That's
I don't know.
insane.
Like to me, like
It's great.
Yeah.
it's Mission Impossible. The first movie's fine, and then the second and third one's just like, yeah. But then like part 4 comes out, and I'm like, oh, this is
Yeah,
Yeah.
4
like,
is awesome.
Yeah.
5, great.
yeah,
Third one's
6,
with
probably good.
looks amazing.
Yeah.
That was, I think it was Logan Trent on Twitter said that in the trailer for Mission Impossible 6, there's a part where Henry Cavill is fighting a guy in a bathroom and he does these 2 arm moves and there's like a gun reloading kind of sound and it's like he's reloading for punching. It's very
So
exciting.
good.
Yeah,
It's really great.
yeah.
I will say this: I love the Mission Impossible films, but they are my favorite films that I'll watch exactly one time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I haven't. I've seen like 2 and 1 more than once, but the newer ones, they're a blast. I don't feel compelled at all to go back and watch
It's
them.
fine.
Yeah, they tied me over between bonds,
Yeah.
and I've seen all of them. They're
That's
great.
that's the thing. I really
Yeah.
enjoy them. So it's
So yeah, this Star Wars news.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's. I think. Like
Yeah.
as soon as they announced there's going to be a Star Wars every year, like that was like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
Like,
where they're like, you
part
won't
of-
live to see the last Star Wars, and it was like, I think I will actually, and I think
Yeah.
that'll be a really
You
depressing.
making that
day.
statement makes me feel like
Yeah.
I will. Like,
Yeah.
It's just part of part of what made Star Wars special is that we didn't have many of them.
Right, the scarcity, yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
there
very
was so
exciting.
much time in between each thing. So like when a new one came out that was like a new storyline, it felt like a big deal.
Yeah,
And now we're just
I think
you know,
I think Star Wars is the ending of Star Wars is going to be similar to the ending of 12 Angry Men, where it's just like one guy still screaming to the heavens, and everybody just sadly looking at him like, no, it's over, buddy.
yeah, it's going to be like the end
Like-
of the Matrix.
Yeah.
Well, because the super interesting thing they could do with it is make just different kinds of movies in that universe. But also, if the standard is we need to sell billions of dollars of tickets, then you kind of can't, you know?
Can't, yeah.
Like almost any other genre of movie within Star Wars would be pretty exciting to me. But but it wouldn't sell enough money, so it's kind of a catch-22, you know?
Yeah, movies are broken and weird. You can make a Star Wars movie for less than $100 million.
Yeah.
It's been done several times.
That should be like, we should make that like a new movie trend.
Yeah.
Of like movies that were made for a reasonable amount. Like that'll be the hot new thing.
Well, because that kind of happened in horror, right? Like they kind of started doing that.
Yeah.
And it's working great.
That's been horror horror.
I guess all the
been,
time.
Yeah. It's the reason it's always been commercially viable is that in general it's very cheap to make.
Yeah. But it is true. Like I wonder if genres have to take turns revitalizing themselves, because right now horror, it's a great time for horror right now.
Oh yeah.
And the 90s and like the 2000s were not a great time. The 90s was all right, but like horror from like 2000 2010 was
mid-90s
pretty.
I mean, I'll say 90s is okay because we got like Scream, which is huge.
But I kind of like Scream
also kind of
was
simultaneously is awesome, but then also like made the next 8 years of horror movies crap.
Yeah.
Like,
And so I'm just hoping.
Thanks a lot, Bill Clinton.
Like, I guess the genre that is blockbusters and action can maybe find. I thought like when Dread came out, I was like, oh shit, we're bringing back like good action. Like,
yeah.
And then nothing really happened after that. No one's looked at Dread and was like, well, let's keep doing this.
John Wick.
Oh yeah, John Wick. Yeah, I guess the action genre is all right. I guess I'm more thinking of like action adventure or like blockbuster mainstream.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can tell you the answer definitely isn't a Star Wars movie.
No.
Here.
The answer is the government stepping in
and putting lesbian dinosaurs.
Lesbian dinosaurs, a Star Wars story. Put them in space. Give them jetpacks.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it'll be the movie Bound. But with dinosaurs and in space. Everything else will be identical.
Everything you loved about Bound. But also...
Oh, no. Should we keep this star noun train going with
Starbound?
Star Trek news.
Alex Kurtzman has been made the Chancellor of Star Trek on television.
What a great idea.
The Chancellor?
Yeah.
Like Palpatine?
Yeah, exactly.
Or
Just
Bismarck?
like Palpatine.
Just like
The exact same arc is going to happen.
Yeah. Kurtzman famously produced all three Star Trek reboot films.
Right.
He wrote the first two. Not great. Feather for his cap. Certainly not that second one.
Not the second one, yeah.
Yeah.
I meant the first one and the third one.
Yeah. Well,
I'm into the first one. I didn't care for the third one.
I liked that the third one was trying to be a Star Trek episode. And there's clear points in it where they told them to insert more action.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, was it trying or was it trying to have a motorcycle?
That's what I'm saying.
Stunt.
Because you remember we wrote about it for a certain site where, like, because Simon Pegg was working on the script and he was given back a draft and told, this is too Star Trek.
Oh yeah,
make it less Star Trek.
I also think, and again, I don't think this is the writing's fault. I'm pretty sure Chris Pine has something in his contract saying that he has to do a motorcycle stunt in a movie.
They do like to put. Maybe he just looks like a motorcycle dude.
Because he played fucking.
He looks cool.
He was in.
I can see Shatner doing it. It fits. It's cool.
That's like putting Shatner on a horse, man.
No, but like
it's like putting Shatner on a horse.
He was in. I'm blanking on the name. Not Wonder Woman. He's an analyst. Paul Ryan.
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan.
Paul Ryan. Those are two very different dudes.
Are they? Yeah, I guess.
Yes.
The Jack Ryan, he does motorcycle stunts in that, and he's like supposed to play this like.
He's an analyst.
He starts with being like, I don't know how to fight, and by the end he's on a motorcycle, and then in Star Trek he was. Several times, right? Like in the first one, he rides a motorcycle. He doesn't do any stunts.
He rides it through Iowa, which has like huge chasms in it. It's great.
And then
really
I'm watching Wonder Woman. Yeah, the huge chasms of Iowa. I forgot about
It's great.
And then I'm watching Wonder Woman, like, oh, he's not gonna get on a motorcycle. And then like third act, he like literally like looks over, and there's just a motorcycle on the side of this country road.
Act 3 Wonder Woman was like, bitch, you thought Chris Pine wasn't gonna ride a motorcycle?
God,
well, strap in, fuckers.
Yeah, I want there to be like, you know, at the airport when there's chauffeurs to pick people up and they have a little sign with their last name. Like it cuts to the motorcycle and there's a guy with a like just Mr. Pine like next to it, like
great.
waiting, you know.
I'm amazed he didn't ride a motorcycle in A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been so good. Star Trek. They're saying there might be a animated series.
Well, he took
a mini series about Khan.
It's a mini series about the events of Wrath of Khan. So it's specifically adapting Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan into a mini series for some reason.
You know what? Oh my fucking god! My head's gonna explode.
He's also responsible for Star Trek
idea?
Discovery, which is not great.
Right. You know what's a great idea for Star Trek?
What's that?
Like something that is original, that like takes place after, like Voyager, that like we haven't seen before. Yeah. It's not just something we've already seen again. Like this is driving me so crazy because the other thing they're gonna do is a Picard show. They're saying,
possibly.
Which again, it's like, oh, cool, Picard. But, like, remember when they're, like, this wasn't that long ago, they would make a Star Trek show, and then they would make another, and it would take place
later.
Oh, with, like, new characters
with, like, new characters.
Like, advancing the timeline.
And Discovery, I know Discovery's sort of doing that, but they made it, like, a prequel.
Yeah, they made it take place in between, original series and Next Gen?
Yeah, I think so.
You watched Discovery, right? You watched
I watched the first. It was weird because they aired it online, but also in like it was a 2-chunk single season thing, like the final seasons of Mad Men and Breaking Bad or something. So I watched the first chunk of the first season, which was like 9 episodes or something.
And you did not watch the second chunk?
And there was one, it was like the 7th episode or so, was a really cool one-off episode with mud and like a lot of time back and forth, and it felt like a very Star Trek episode, and it was very exciting. And the rest was pretty hard to watch. It wasn't that great.
Yeah.
And also the tech looks so new, they should have just set it in the far future.
I don't know why they
weird.
didn't.
Like that's the baffling thing.
Yeah. They're doing some kind of thing where Klingons like evolve in the century between Discovery and the ones we know. So they look like orcs in this, and then they'll look like Klingons in the ones we know. It doesn't totally make sense why.
And that already happened between the original series and Next Generation, where Klingons look different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like canonical kind of, but also I don't get it.
I don't
know.
know.
Really strange decision.
Yeah. It's and a lot of like long scenes of Klingons just speaking Klingon to each other in a really guttural voice in like kind of a really brown and yellow ship that's hard to look at, and it's weird. Yeah. What
a baffling series, because right away, like if I were a producer and this was pitched to me, I'd be like, just make it take place in the future. Like first note, there's no reason it needs to take place during that era.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Yeah, and it doesn't. I heard. I did hear that the. I guess spoilers that the last episode the Enterprise shows up, like the Kirk Enterprise. Like that's the like cliffhanger, and so I don't know.
So then this is just it's incredibly confusing.
And then it's just I think it's probably Captain Pike. Is
that's just a generation. He's still alive when Kirk's alive.
Yeah,
so it doesn't make any sense for the Klingons to look like rock trolls.
I know it's all exhausting.
While Pike is alive,
it would be like I don't know what they're doing.
Also, it was just bad. Like the 2-part premiere episode is one of the most baffling.
Okay, so Discovery is between Star Trek Enterprise and Star Trek the original series.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So it's before Kirk, but also because like Enterprise, they were starting to do some like just interesting ideas of like the Vulcans are way ahead of humanity and kind of withholding technology, and like there's some like interesting ways they were kind of going there. I liked
a lot of what Enterprise did because it was far enough back that they weren't like trying to bank off of nostalgia. It felt original because they were like, okay, here's what it must be like. Even though some of those ideas were dumb, I remember in Enterprise they like had to push a button for the door to open, and it was like, see, it's more primitive than Star Trek, and it's like, I mean, we have automatic doors now. Like,
right? It's tricky.
Like, Food Lion has a door that if I walk up to it, it opens.
like
surely your starship can master that technology.
Yeah, and I don't know. Discovery, I was hoping, it made me wish they would make another Star Trek series where they don't have any money. Because, like, Discovery, they kept doing elaborate stuff where, like, the ship had a drive based on spores and also a giant tardigrade kind of animal. And so there was a lot of, like, amazing special effects shots and very expensive things they were doing instead of just, like, making a show.
shitty puppet.
Like, it was weird.
Like, I think that's part of the recipe for the original Star Trek anyway, was because they spent all their money on the set and they had very little money throughout to make anything. So it's like, it had to be the heady
They had to
science
think of stuff.
fiction show it was.
Yeah.
You had to do sci-fi stuff.
Right,
not
I think-
just huge space battles all the goddamn time.
I think I can't tell if TNG certainly did stuff that seemed like this, but I know the original series did this where they would like land on a planet that was whatever backlot happened to be around.
Yeah.
Like,
Or it's like, it's stuff that's like clearly like out in Northern California,
Right,
like
yeah,
just
yeah.
outside of Los Angeles. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I started living here and started hiking anywhere, I realized where they made
most
Star
of
Trek.
Star Trek
Yeah.
is
I
filmed
was
out
like,
there.
oh, okay, I got it.
Oh, this is the Shorely planet that I'm hiking through.
Oh man, I still need to visit Starfleet Academy, which is a water treatment plant not far from here. It's
That's-
just like a sewage place.
It's one of the shows that they're pitching is a show about Starfleet Academy made by the creators of Gossip Girl.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
the OC, baby.
I'm gonna say that that's a
The
good
OC.
idea.
Sure.
I'm gonna throw this out because there's a episode called "The First Duty" of Next Generation. Duty.
First duty.
Sorry.
It's about Picard taking his first
yeah.
shit.
It's about
So it's real weird because he's 15 years old.
It's about Wesley at the academy, and
What's happening?
And they
Beverly, what's going on?
oh man,
I'm sticking to this bit and you're trying to tell us about the episode.
I mean this is pretty good.
Sorry, man.
No. My point was about Wesley at the academy,
Sure.
and it was like a dramatic like whole thing about they did a flight accident where they were covering it up, and Wesley got in trouble, and there was all this drama. But the point is that it was like it's a pretty compelling episode, and the idea of doing like a Starfleet Academy series does seem like a good idea, right? And then aiming it at like shitty teenagers to watch
Sure.
it. Why not? Like,
Sure.
yeah,
It could be a
weird
thing.
to think of
Yeah.
Star Trek as something that like popular kids are watching, like and like teenagers, but like why not? Fuck it.
It's a more suitable space for what Star Trek was supposed to be than the space action movie that it's trying to be right now.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like it's
Yeah.
Star
Yeah.
Wars isn't there for any grander societal commentary, but Star Trek was that.
Yeah, and if you did a Star Trek in the Academy that explored like stuff like social dynamics
Yeah,
and stuff like that,
exactly.
like that would be interesting. The way that Star Trek would,
The way that the show used to do, yeah.
I'm sure that's not what this show will be.
I mean, it has I think there's better odds that it'll be more within the Star Trek universe than just
Yeah.
another pew-pew show in space.
I hope.
It's not.
It
Yeah.
could be all right.
It could be fine. I don't know. I mean, it's probably not going to be geared towards me, but whatever.
Well, they're now making Star Trek at such a high budget that they need the popular kids to watch it because they need everyone to watch
Yeah.
it.
Right, yeah.
So like it'll be for everybody probably. Yeah. Like
That's the
whatever it is.
problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the problem with
yeah.
a lot of things, I think, is that they're trying to make things for everybody, and then they sort of get
They
rid
wind
of
up
what
being
made it
for
good.
nobody.
Yeah.
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 Well, and honestly, I feel like maybe the general public gets more and more TV literate over time. You know, like maybe there's more people on board for
Yeah.
a show like the original series than there used to be. I don't know. Hopefully.
It's
I don't know,
definitely
it-
more accessible to people now than it has been in the past couple of decades.
It's-
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, because everyone can stream Next Gen on Netflix, and so like
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah,
more
they're
people are
available-
on board.
All
That's
the old
what's-
series are available on Netflix.
That's
and Hulu
what's
and
so
shit.
baffling to me is that there's like it's never been a better time to make like kind of a niche show
Yeah,
because of streaming. They don't have to make it for everybody. I think the smartest thing they could do with this Star Trek stuff is if they made each of these shows drastically different. Like if they did one that was like, okay, here's the pew pew in space one for you fucking idiots over there, and that's like, let's make an actual sci-fi Star Trek show. Let's like actually, I don't know, that seems like and this is what Star Wars isn't doing either, is like, since if you're going to make a whole lot of something, you might as well make them all drastically different from each other, right? Like,
Yeah.
why not? Not trying to make a series of very broad films or TV shows.
Yeah, actually, I haven't seen it, but that Star Wars Clone Wars show, that's like, oh, great, they made an animated show for kids. That's kind of a whole separate thing. And I don't know, they could do that with Star Trek. It would be great.
Yeah, why not?
Or something, some approach like that.
Yeah, the's an animated.
Or the animated.
The animated series is on. I think it's on Netflix right now. It is something else. It's very hilarious. What's the next thing on the list? We should move along.
I wrote about AMC is launching a Movie Pass rival, but who gives a shit?
Yeah, Movie Pass is just eating it right now. I don't know how they're staying in business.
Yeah, I don't. I think this is This is just more of like, oh yeah, everything's the studio system's dying, movie theaters are dying, movies are dying, because now like Movie Pass is like create this system to completely devaluize like movies, and now AMC is like, oh, we're going to compete and make our fucking tickets even cheaper, and it's like, this is a bad fucking battle to be having.
Oh yeah,
you're devaluing your only product, man.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Not the best strategy. You're trying to compete with a company that is not making a profit.
Yeah.
I'm upset, but also if they hit the point of giving away the popcorn, this is the best.
Yeah,
I
sure.
win. It's like my favorite food.
Reduce your concessions price. I know you can't because that's how they stay open. But
yeah, I was going to say concessions is really, at least it used to be how they made most of their money.
Oh, I think it's even more so now, because I feel like studios probably take a higher percentage for the ticket sales than they used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't there some kind of thing where Disney like makes them sign on to certain extra perks for Star Wars, something like that? Like they take extra money.
Yeah, they'll make them sign
terrible.
like 70-30 deals, and like you have to show it on this number of screens, and like Disney's terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you guys know that. They're real pieces of shit. But I hope they buy Fox so I can see X-Men and Avengers together.
You just summed up everything.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the exact problem, because I agree.
Yeah.
It's just like, Disney is terrible, but I really want to see Wolverine fight the Hulk. So
They're the worst fucking company in history.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to see Wolverine and Hulk fight.
Yeah. I mean, you can.
So yay,
in your
mergers.
Imagination. Just close your eyes.
My
That sounds like work.
imagination is
Yeah.
worthless. It's worthless.
All right, let's talk about John Gotti.
Is that
Have
Simpsons
you
joke where he's like, "There's nothing that can compete with a boy's imagination." It's just Itchy and Scratchy standing there looking at each
They
other.
just shrug.
He checks his watch.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, this John Gotti shit is funny as hell.
Have you heard about what's going on with the John Gotti film?
I looked at briefly at the links you sent, but I hadn't heard about it. They're like, it got a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes?
0%.
And they're like fighting Rotten Tomatoes now?
They're like the Trump of movies.
Oh god.
Their audience ranking is impossibly high because it has like the same number of audience reviews as like The Incredibles 2, only it opened on like 10% of the theaters.
I'm hoping the score is like 101 or some dumb like like you're not allowed to do that.
It's like clear like Russian bot stuff. Like it's the most fucking mobster thing you could do.
So it's Trump in like every element.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And then
they're literally hashtagged fake news.
Yeah.
In one of the tweets.
they're like attacking, like they're the official John Gotti the movie Twitter account is attacking movie critics, being like, "Oh, is you care to retract your review, the bad stuff you said, now that you've been proven wrong by this audience score that we're obviously inflating?"
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is fucking incredible.
Sent from Moscow. Like
It's really, there's been other movies like this. It's that depressing, like, what do experts know situation where like there's been this rejection of critics on Rotten Tomatoes, where it's not that, here's the thing, it's not that critics aren't wrong every now and then. Sometimes critics are really, really wrong.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion, where the movie's like, it's like cool for critics to like a movie.
Yeah.
But most of the time you should generally trust critics, I think. They like, I don't know.
I mean, certainly an aggregate of most of them.
Yeah.
Like if most professional film critics are saying this movie is bad, the movie is probably bad.
Yeah, and then I think there's that weird element of hype around a movie that will make a bad movie score better on Rotten Tomatoes. But also, it's that review thing that I think who was talking about this? Jason, who's David Wong at Cracked. He talked about how like Amazon reviews, you'll go on an Amazon review and it'll be like, this weed whacker exploded and hit my child. Anyway, 4.5 stars. It's just like that, where people tend to be way more forgiving of things. So like Rotten Tomatoes audience scores tend to be that, where it's like, well, the story wasn't very good and it was too long and I was pretty bored during it. But, you know, I went out and saw it, so 5 stars. It's great.
There's also no way
to
verify. Like on Amazon, you can't leave a review unless you buy the product.
Yeah.
You don't have that on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right. But yeah, Gotti is...
Gotti is the type of movie that is not affected by that hype train because it's a biopic about John Gotti.
It's like creating its own hype train.
Yeah, like starring John Travolta. Can we talk about like... Those are things that from like 35 years ago. Like,
right.
What young person is getting hyped about fucking Gotti?
Right, like it should have been made in the 1980s, so it's just coming out now.
Right. Like 94.
It's like it was on the shelf
like,
that long.
That's like the maximum amount of time. 94, 95. That's the cutoff point. You don't make a John Gotti movie by then, which they did for HBO starring Armand Assante.
Oh my God, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Let me double check.
No, I believe you. I just because I'm not a big like true crime person, or even I only like specific gangster stuff, like basically The Godfather. But yeah, like just these stories of people like John Gotti, I'm never that interested in. So I wasn't like tracking this movie on its way out.
1996.
Oh man,
the made-for-TV movie John Gotti starring Armand Assante.
Oh my God. Hold.
Do you want to take it back or anything? Or?
Yeah, 1996.
Yeah. Because he's the once and future Odysseus, Armand Assante.
Yes.
From the Odyssey TV miniseries.
TV miniseries also made around this time.
That was like my favorite show for about a year when I was a kid. I was way into it.
I really enjoyed it, yeah. He gets back to his palace and Eric Roberts has taken over. Damn that. So yeah. He made a Gotti movie in 96, also starring Anthony Quinn and William Forsythe.
See, if someone said there was a Gotti movie with John Travolta in 96, that would seem more
right.
fitting.
Like that's and also a lot of the cast of The Sopranos is in this made-for-TV movie.
Oh man,
it was a very similar looking set, and they got lost, and they just started playing parts.
I'm pretty sure most of the cast of Sopranos, they had like they were just being cast specifically to look like mobsters, right?
Oh yeah,
like their headshots are just them in a pinstripe suit, like
they got Dick Tracy faces all the way.
Yeah.
Just across
all
the
way.
So let's all go see John Gotti.
To see that it's Gotti. There's no way this movie is
0%. Everything I've heard is that it like hits all the marks of a cliche biopic. It's like it's on Gotti's side, like the film.
It's a weird stance to take.
Yeah, it's all like everything about the movie sounds delightfully bad. The problem is like I want to see it, but I know it's when a movie gets a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, it tends to mean that it's the bad kind of bad.
Right.
Where it's like
not going to be bad in a fun way.
Yeah.
It's going to be bad in a very boring way.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's not like Deep Blue Sea bad.
But I kind of appreciate their marketing tactics here of like
it's just completely insane.
Whoever do their social media is going rogue and the company is just like, well, we got nothing to lose, so let's just see how this pans out.
That's the thing is it's apparently MoviePass has a stake in it.
Oh, really?
MoviePass is like a producer in this movie.
Holy shit.
So is that legal?
Oh my God. It used to not be legal.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
It's not supposed to be.
Yeah, the government, as I've been saying, the government stepped in.
I thought it was a thing where that's illegal.
Yeah. They stepped in like the 20s and they're like, yeah, you can't run the theaters and make movies. And now Netflix is like, we're thinking of buying theaters, and no one's saying anything about it.
Yeah.
And now MoviePass is apparently making movies. That's insane.
I want there to be like racketeering charges or whatever against people making a movie about a mobster who like did racketeering kind of stuff. Like, that's really good.
Everything we're gleaning about how MoviePass is operating, it has to be a racketeering gig.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way they're making money.
Oh, yeah, because I was almost going to finally sign up for it, and then I like Googled just to find the website, and then it was all these news stories about it being broken now and a whole problem. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's too bad. So they're probably going down.
Yeah, I don't know how you can't operate at a 10,000% loss.
Yeah.
Like,
and there'll be a movie about it in like 2040 starring John Travolta.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get the Big Short about...
like way after everybody forgot.
Oh, man.
It'll probably make a fascinating movie.
Yeah.
All right, so Dave, do you have a movie that deserves more hype?
I do. I have a movie that deserves more hype. It's coming out in summer 2018, according to IMDb.
Oh, shit.
There's no
Summer?
exact date.
That's today!
That's now. I
I
can't
change into
believe-
shorts on the beach towel and stuff.
Immediately jump on a crocodile mile and shoot out of the house.
This movie is called Mandy. It is the director of Beyond the Black Rainbow, which I never saw, but it's like has this like weird 70s trippy vibe, the trailer. The key thing you need to know about this movie is it stars Nicolas Cage. And
great.
Murders a bunch of hippie cannibals.
They hippie cannibals burn his girlfriend to death.
Yes, and then with using a series of like improvised weaponry, he takes revenge. The poster is awesome looking. But the only production still I found from this is just Nicolas Cage with the look of insanity on his face, and he's covered in blood. It has 97%
from a press interview or something.
Yeah. 97% of Rotten Tomatoes with like almost 30 critics reviewing. So it's not
it's
like
a
two
70s.
guys.
They list it as like a 70s, 80s exploitation horror flick. Excuse me.
Sick. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I'm into. If ever there was a human being constructed to play in a 70s, 80s exploitation horror film,
It's Nicolas Cage.
it's Nicolas Cage,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he'll be great.
Yeah.
He plays a logger.
Yeah.
And it takes place in 1983.
Of course he plays the year of my birth.
Yeah.
No, I was laying in the
cult
crib
leaders-
while Nicolas Cage was carving his way through cannibals.
The cult leader is named Jeremiah Sand.
Isn't that like a name from Far Cry 5 or something?
Yeah,
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, and there's
Is this just a Far Cry 5
called
movie?
The Black Skulls.
Yeah, it's just Far Cry 5, the movie.
This is sort of like a Far Cry game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is not a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch
It's the
that.
guy who
Oh,
scored Arrival and Prisoners.
Scored it?
Did the music. Yeah, it's the director of that Rainbow thing I mentioned, who hasn't done much else. Beyond the Black Rainbow has terrible reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. It's at like a 50%. But again, this one got like a 90-something. And I guess tonally it's going to be the same, but apparently this is his do-over. Like, he's going to do a better job this time.
It's like, well, look,
You just need
I've
Nicolas
reflected
Cage.
on the mistakes that I made in the first film that I did, and it really just came down to one. I didn't cast Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. It's true.
I've corrected that error, and you'll find this product is much more palatable.
Yeah.
I also should have stayed within the Black Rainbow. You don't go outside of it.
Yeah, no, you don't go
It's
beyond
rule
the
of
Black
thumb.
Rainbow.
Beyond it.
Yeah. This is reckless.
Right.
What are you doing?
You look at the two ends, you stay in the middle. You know what I mean?
Go
Come on.
beyond the Black Rainbow. What are you doing? Get back in. Get back within the Black Rainbow. Crazy person.
Yeah. Does this director like just come up with ideas that sound very funny? Like it seems like
I hope so.
all of
I
his
hope-
things seem like comedies to me.
Right,
It's
like I
great.
hope the genesis point for this film was, okay, so Nicolas Cage plays a logger. Where do we go?
Yeah.
And somebody took it in this direction.
Yeah, just yelling at trees for the first 10 minutes. Like, great. Let's do it.
I would watch a movie just about Nicolas Cage as a logger. Like, just fucking running around the woods, chopping down trees. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm very excited for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Oh, I think that's a show.
Yeah.
Alex, thanks so much for...
It was so fun. Thank
Yeah,
you.
where can we
Yeah.
find you? Yeah.
Lots of stuff.
At Alex Schmidt on Twitter, and alexschmidt.com is my website. Show dates and more.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, everyone.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, Corlew, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown, and find more of his artwork at artnessbijustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info. Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.